Breaking today, Prince William doubles down. It's now a matter of when, not if, he strips Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal titles.
They called it a last-minute flight. But make no mistake, when Prince Harry's private jet sliced through the clouds over London, this was far from a casual visit. This was a royal alarm bell ringing at full volume. What was about to unfold would mark the beginning of a reckoning. The golden boy of the monarchy, the once celebrated ginger prince who swapped palace life for podcasts and Hollywood sunsets, was now racing back to the epicenter of his own unraveling. And he wasn't running for love. He wasn't running for family. He was running from the shadow of a palace decision so cold, so absolute, it could wipe his royal identity from history. Yes, they were preparing to erase him completely.
King Charles and Prince William still believe Meghan Markle is a bigger threat to the royal family than Prince Andrew.
The titles that once made Harry and Meghan untouchable, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, now dangling by a knife's edge. And this time, it isn't just gossip fueling the threat. Behind the gilded walls of Buckingham Palace, where every polite nod masks a calculated agenda, Prince William's plan to modernize the monarchy is accelerating at a dangerous speed. The royal family isn't reacting. It's striking. King Charles may be sidelined by illness, but William? He's stepping in like a ruthless CEO, ready to cut what no longer serves the brand. And at the very top of his list? The exiled California royals, the Netflix empire builders, the couple who transformed palace scandal into a multi-million-dollar spectacle.
I actually would go as far to say that Harry is a traitor because he betrayed his country. He betrayed one of the leading institutions of his country, the monarchy. He disgraced the monarchy. He disgraced his family.
Harry thought he could walk away and still bask in the crown's glow. Meghan believed she could turn the monarchy into her personal brand. But the institution they underestimated is ancient, unforgiving, and far colder than any Hollywood dealmaker. Because when the palace decides to sever ties, it doesn't negotiate, it erases. And that's exactly why Prince Harry was now racing back across the Atlantic. Not for love, not for family loyalty, but to salvage the one thing that still mattered, his name. In the past 2 weeks, Prince William had quietly seized the levers of power from a weakened, ailing King Charles. And for Harry, Meghan, Archie, and Lilibet, that spelled disaster. Behind Buckingham Palace's golden gates, serene smiles hid calculating, icy intentions. The public only saw Charles waving from a car window, William attending polished charity galas. What unfolded behind closed doors was a high-stakes chess game. Charles's failing health had created a power vacuum, and William wasn't waiting for a coronation. He was already ruling in every way that counted. Courtiers whispered about Project Renewal, a secret modernization initiative less about tradition and more about damage control. For decades, the monarchy's reputation had been bled dry by scandal, and at the center of every headline sat two familiar names, Harry and Meghan. The harsh reality for the Sussexes? William could now strip them of every royal title without Parliament's approval. Every interview, Netflix special, and brand collaboration had become yet another wound to the crown's credibility. In William's eyes, enough was enough. To him, this wasn't family drama, it was corporate crisis management. The monarchy was a brand, and the Sussexes were bleeding it dry, costing millions in goodwill and decades of prestige. Advisors described William as cold, analytical, and relentless, a man who would protect the crown's reputation at any cost. Discussions of a title audit quickly escalated into full legal strategy sessions. The goal was clear: streamline the monarchy, cut loose ends, and control the narrative. While Harry lounged in California, soaking up the sun, his royal identity was quietly being dismantled, piece by piece. But here's the twist: the latest charity report wasn't just about finances. It was a blueprint aimed squarely at ending Harry. Not only that, it was crafted as legal cover for a potential lawsuit and criminal inquiry. The first name on that secret list? Not Andrew. Harry. The palace called it administrative housekeeping. But make no mistake, this was a royal hit disguised as policy. Deep inside Clarence House, lawyers began meticulously dusting off century-old constitutional texts. The 1917 letters patent on paper, ink, and parchment. In reality, absolute power. William's advisors framed it as brand protection. If you no longer serve the crown, you don't represent it. And if your name spreads scandal instead of dignity, that name can and will be rewritten. Meetings multiplied. Coded memos circulated. Silent signatures etched decisions into history. In hushed corridors of the palace, one phrase echoed like a specter: title review. The first test was Andrew, a calculated trial to measure the public's reaction. When outrage failed to materialize, the next step became unavoidable. the Sussex titles would vanish. Framed as modernization, presented as progress, the truth was far more ruthless. A surgical strike on a dynasty. The palace saw them as a threat. History had already spoken Andrew, Fergie, and the warning was clear. Repetition would not be tolerated. Staffers prepared talking points for eventual leaks. Yet someone wasn't supposed to hear. Somewhere in Montecito, Harry's phone buzzed with a message that froze his blood. It wasn't rumor. It wasn't gossip. It was a warning. They were coming for the titles. A quiet California week, sunshine, yoga, curated calm, was instantly shattered. Under the radar, Harry boarded a private jet. No entourage. No smiling wife. No paparazzi. Just one goal. Reach London before the palace made the move permanent. This was not a family visit. It was a high-stakes rescue mission, a race against a silent, unstoppable clock. Every mile across the Atlantic tightened the knot in his chest. Would anyone meet him? Would the gates even open? He thought a single phone call could fix it all. He was wrong. Landing in London, expectation collided with reality. Silence. No driver. No reception. No familiar face. The palace had not only closed ranks, it had closed its doors. Requests for a private audience with King Charles went unanswered. William? Unavailable. Alone, cut off, blindsided. Courtiers averted their eyes. Calls were rerouted. Even loyal staff who once called him Sir had grown distant. In diplomatic terms, this meant one thing. He was finished. Inside royal offices, memos flew. Every encounter with Harry was recorded. Every approach channeled through official lines. It wasn't cruelty, it was containment. To them, Harry was no longer a son or a brother. He had become a public risk wrapped in family blood. Meanwhile, the polished image Harry and Meghan had built abroad, podcasts, documentaries, business ventures, had transformed into a branding battlefield. Critics called it Hollywood meets highbrow. The palace labeled it exploitation. When Meghan filed trademarks linked to her Duchess identity, William's advisors saw leverage. Told not to proceed, she did anyway. Public opinion turned brutal. Polls revealed a shocking reality. Meghan now drew more disapproval than Andrew. For William, that was the green light. What Meghan saw as empowerment, the crown read as betrayal. In the monarchy's chess game, those who defy tradition rarely survive the checkmate. Royal punishment comes not with handcuffs, but with paperwork. One signature, one quiet maneuver, and suddenly, you vanish from the hierarchy. Hidden in the monarchy's legal machinery lies a tool few dare touch. The letter's patent, a constitutional blueprint of privilege. For over a century, it defined who is royal and who is not. Now, quietly under William's direction, it was being revisited. No public spectacle, no scandal, no ceremony, just a silent, surgical rewrite. One morning, the words Duke and Duchess of Sussex could simply disappear, erased in elegant silence. For Harry and Meghan, this meant losing every formal right tied to their titles, precedence, representation, royal insignia. Even their children's future status could vanish overnight. In Montecito, the revelation sent shockwaves. Partners worried about brand confusion. Advisors scrambled. But there was no appeal, only the relentless hum of history erasing names one page at a time. This historic maneuver, orchestrated by William, not Charles, had already been tested with Andrew. The world saw William as polished, dutiful, almost predictable. Behind the facade, however, was a strategist who knew one immutable truth. To protect the crown, emotion must be removed. William had quietly built a loyal circle of technocrats, media fixers, image consultants, and constitutional hawks. Their mission, keep the monarchy flawless, even if it meant rewriting family history. Harry and Meghan weren't villains, they were liabilities. Every podcast, every interview chipped away at centuries of credibility. In William's mind, allowing it to continue wasn't mercy, it was negligence. His decisions were surgical, no raised voices, no outbursts, just cold precision. That is royal extinction. And whether you admire or despise them, Harry and Meghan now face the harshest truth. Once you trade the crown for freedom, the crown never lets you back in, and it's darker still. The palace isn't alone in turning away. Luxury brands, once desperate for Meghan's glamour, quietly pulled back. One French fashion house drew a line she never saw coming. The fallout isn't over. Every connection, every opportunity now carries risk. This is Star Spotlight, where royal fantasy meets cold reality, and nothing stays hidden forever.